All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to do a quick quant sector review. We're going to look at 5 of them on this one. IONQ, QSI, RGTI, QBTS, and QUBT, okay? And I covered this one on the live actually a couple days ago. I think I covered just about all of these. And the big comment I made a couple days ago was we're seeing, okay, I actually really want to delete all the lines. There are so many lines here. We don't even need them anymore. Most of them are the moving averages. I'm going to just, oh, good. That was easy. That got rid of most of them. Sorry. I'm so sorry. It just really annoyed me right there. I'm just gonna keep those two up there. Okay, so the thing I said on the live video was there is a lot less just amazing sector strength, right? I covered, I think 4 or 5, like I said on the live, maybe exactly these 5, and I saw 2 that were decent, 3 that weren't. And that's the same thing I see today, all right? IONQ was green. QSI was technically green, but I do not like that candle too much. Oh man, I had no idea after hours dropped. I swear I didn't. This was a bad candle today, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Normally I say dojis are 50-50, but oh, I didn't like today's candle at all. But nonetheless, again, this one was green as well. And then RGTI was actually a little bit red. QBTS was a little bit red. Excuse me, and then QUBT again was a little bit red, right? And what went from you can literally throw a dart and whichever quant stock you pick, you'll gain 20% to all of a sudden we're seeing a little more struggle and a little, it's a big reason why I'm always here saying I'm not here to fall in love with a stock. I'm not here to fall in love with a sector. Sector strengths come and sector strengths go. I'm not saying it's gone yet. All right, there's still a lot of moving averages. There's a good amount of supports. We're still in a decent place, but you gotta respect the potential shift that is coming up. All right. The last thing I'm gonna say on this opening thoughts is look, we gotta watch NASDAQ. Okay, and a lot of my love for quantum came on that right there. Okay, and just taking a step back from this, what it was it looked really scary, and all of a sudden things were good and then things got better. We're at the same place right now. That was scary. Things did well. Let me see things do better. Let me literally mimic this one more time. Now, this was a single fall recovery run. This one's a double fall recovery run, right? So it's not exactly mimic for mimic, but that's what I want to see, right? And at the bare minimum, we got to get over the moving averages. Really, I'd love to start getting into that 19,900-ish range right there, right? So if NASDAQ can do better, oh man, these will also do better. I think right now, this little downtrend that we're actually in, right? You can see that's a 3-week downtrend, right? I think this is starting to hit the quant sector just a little bit more than it was probably those first 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So, but hey, overall, I think the 50 is a strong line on the NASDAQ. We're obviously over the golden line, right? I mean, there is still more long term to like on NASDAQ, but hey, this is part of the short swing game that I love so much. All right, I think that's good right there. Cool. So before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's get into it. And you know, I've been saying this on IONQ what feels like a month now. Slow and steady isn't a bad thing. And in fact, slow and steady is actually a sign of really, really bullish charts. All right. Believe me, I am a gambler. I love hitting the home runs. I love it. I love the big, big numbers. And hey, arguably, I mean, even this day today, that's a monster double digit day. It really is. If you're pushing anything over 7%, my goodness, you've had a good day. You know what I mean? But where we've seen these 50, 60, 40-ish% runs on other ones, that's not really what IONQ is doing. All it's really doing is breaking all five and flying, bouncing on the 8 moving average like a champion, and for real, only using the 20 moving average once since October. Monster. Slow and steady is a beautiful, beautiful move of strength. And hey, if you were down here when it actually broke all five, if you were here when we broke the golden line, I mean, slow and steady brings amazing profits as well, right? So there's so much to love right here, all right? I think my favorite part is actually being over the biggest candle to the left. Obviously, this is still the higher candle, and you know I want to get over that right now, but yeah, that's a nice candle right there. We're holding the 8. We didn't even actually use the 20. To me, this is more using the 20 because there's real candles here. Me personally, I'm not a wick user. I know a lot of really good traders that do use it and would consider this a use. Either way, I think you get the point, right? I don't know if you watched the opening thoughts, but I deleted a whole mess of my manual lines. At this point, the moving averages do matter more. And I mean, we are in all time highs, so there's not actually very many educated lines I can draw. Um, so yeah, that's it, right? Like we have the 8, we got the 20, and then we got these 2 manual ones that I drew. Really, I almost wanted to delete this line, even though it's my golden line, because again, at that point, it's the 50 moving average that does matter more, right? Like I always say it, I respect these computer generated lines. Again, this is a quantum pun, but like quantum computers are smarter than I am, right? This thing's not a quantum system, but it's definitely a computer, and I'm just some dude, right? So I will respect these 5 lines more than my clicks. And again, we're in all-time highs basically. There's no educated reason for me to draw the next line. You get what I'm saying, right? So at this point, as long as we hold the 8 and the 20, all I can do is say this thing is bullish, right? It looks like the MACD is ready to actually diverge back green over red. The RSI basically just did it after being horizontal for forever. That's a very healthy 67. The volume could be a little better. I would say that, you know what I mean? But again, look at this entire climb, right? We were basically over most of it. Now we're kind of struggling, but hey, we're nicely growing, right? I think the slow and steady has to do with this volume too. Like that's such a beautiful growth. That's such a steady climb of growth, and that's such a beautifully sustained. Again, I'm telling you, I love hitting those big ones. I do. But slow and steady is it did that one turtle really well in one of the most famous races ever. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is lovely. And again, I'm liking these lower indicators. Just give me a little bit sprinkle of volume. Can you imagine what this will do if the NASDAQ actually does get over the 8 and the 20 and continues on up into all-time highs? This is lovely. This really is. And I'm glad that this one, I don't want to say I'm glad because that sounds bad, but like I'm hoping you see the emphasis of look, when the sector's hot, you can ride the sillier ones. As the cool down comes, the strength should start to shake out. And yeah, it makes sense that look at the candle today, right? Look at, I have to zoom in that hard to see the wick. Look at it. The high of the day was $47.91. We basically closed what, 12 cents, 13 cents, 14 cents. I can't do the math in my head real quick, but we closed pennies away from the high, right? Like that's a good strong candle. I mentioned being over. Like, yeah, that's lovely right there, right? Where are we on the weekly? The exact same place we are. And look, bouncing on the 8 like a champion. Again, we've talked about wicks. I don't really use them, but some would say that's a beautiful reset and reuse of the weekly 8 MA right there, right? So IONQ, I like this one. And I've been calling this one the number one of the sector. I'm not a fundamental guy. I'm way too dumb to understand the science and the stuff when I'm looking at the fundamental stuff. But yeah, everything I just said is the technical reason why I call this one number one. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I almost wanted to bundle QSI with the other four I'm about to cover, excuse me, the other three I'm about to cover. I wanted to give this one just a little bit of its own attention today, okay? I promise you, I had no idea that this thing fell after hours so hard. I've been making other videos if you look at the timelines and stuff. Today was a shady candle, and you know, if you watch my, this is a doji in my head. I normally say dojis are 50-50. I normally give them the respect that they deserve. Oh man, look, okay, we open up here, right? You can see it in the second line over there. We open at 480 and then close all the way down here at 430. All right, that is about a 40%, 40-cent move right there. More people lost 10% today than they actually made any sort of green today. Number one. Number two, that wick was wild. I woke up around the highs of QSI, and I mean, I'm telling you, I was looking at myself getting real angry. I wasn't holding this one, and man, it quickly changed. Was it on the 15? No, I don't know if I saw, maybe it was on the hour. Oh man, I maybe it was on again. You know, I also use a different set of charts, right? I jump between the one and the two. Man, there was a time frame candle I saw that looked really shady. Maybe it was that one big red one. Nonetheless, this just looked so shady, and I see that. And you know, as I'm seeing this description, I feel like I'm not doing justice of why it was shady in my head. So like, if you caught that, cool. If you didn't, let me know your questions, and I'll try to answer it again. But I think ultimately, if I was gonna re-say everything in a cleaner way, if you're gonna get this much more volume than yesterday, and you're gonna do this substantially better than the 50-day line, right? Like, we didn't just double it. We probably quadrupled, like whatever, I don't know the math in my head, right? But like, that's a big break of the 50-day volume. That's a significant, almost 2x volume increase, and you're gonna give me this bad shady candle? No, that shouldn't happen. RSI was nowhere near the 80s, 90s. No, that shouldn't happen. MACD was positive in divergence. No, that shouldn't happen. And those reasons, I wish I started with that, but those reasons are why this was shady. This should have sustained up here. I should have remained upset that I unloaded on this thing. Lo and behold, that I didn't, right? And I think the ultimate answer, again, is confirmation. Look, when the moving averages are down here, you gotta respect them. When I draw a line up, I'm not saying I'm the best one, right? But you got to start working on these yourself, right? Like, if you don't like my line, draw the better line and say it in the comments, right? So we all get better, right? But yeah, there are moments where a human drawn line is a good resistance. We've tried to get over it but couldn't. That's one good candle for sure, but we need confirmation, right? So yeah, we're battling this line right here. Still, as I zoom out, you can see it. The last good attempt was basically August of 2023. Last real time we were doing very well over that line was in the middle of 22. Right? So that's a no joke line right there. And I haven't drawn the line above for a reason, in all honesty, right? But yeah, we got to see what happens with that. I'll at least draw this next one. It's probably that right there if I had to guess. Oh, look at that. That's actually basically where that doji candle was. But yeah, it's going to be that. And then, I mean, from there, oh, look at that. It's almost the wick of where it was. I would draw it basically up there right now. But I think to me, it's still about this line right here. I think the main positive is how close the 8 moving average is to that line, right? I don't think we're going to go below the 8 moving average. If we go below the 8, obviously that's going to be a pretty scary drop to the 20. But I think that 8 should do well because, again, this is a pretty fresh break of all the moving averages, right? And as I look at the next ones, Rigotti is actually still over the 8 moving average, right? Yep, pudgy fingers, I apologize. QBTS. QBTS is actually still over the 8 moving average, right? QUBT is actually still over the 8 moving average, right? So even though I started the video by saying, hey, the sector amazingness isn't still there, there's still reason for me to believe that the 8 moving average is going to hold because it's holding for the sector, right? So just watch that. Do not go below 275. I think that's where I start to get worried because, yeah, it could be a real quick fall down to 2 actually right there, all right? But QSI, I can't tell you again how much I did not like this candle. And yeah, this drop right there makes complete sense because super shady candle right there. But hey, we've seen it, right? We go away from the 8, we come to the 8, we go away from the 8, we come to the 8, we go away, we come to, we go away, we come to. We might go away and back up once we hit it, right? So again, watch what the 8 moving average does. Where are we on the weekly? It's a big week right here, right? We are testing the 200 moving average. It's a small short week, right? So again, to me, the first real trading week of the year is next week. Let's see what Monday brings. Let's see what the 8 moving average does. Let's see how we do against that 200 MA. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I'm gonna cover the next 3 together because it is pretty much the same thoughts, all right? The first thing I want to say is, look, we are, and I don't know if you just watched the QSI video or not, but I'm going to start with it here, okay? All 3 of this, like I said, they're a little bit red today, right? And to me, it's a little bit of a when some are green and some are red, I actually don't like that. Obviously, I'm always here like rooting for everything to be green, but sometimes it's not good when there's a bit of a mix. I'm looking for sector harmony, and I generally look for the sectors with the strength in the harmony, right? Not the down. But it's a little interesting to me to see that some are red, some are green. I think the important overall thing is everyone's above the moving averages. Everyone's either at least at or over the 8MA, right? You can see this one is still over them all, even though it's in the red section for today's video, right? QBTS, exact same comment. It was almost minus 5 day, but we're still over the 8 moving average, right? We're nowhere near under them all, right? Even the last one, QUBT, this thing is, barely under in my eyes. That doesn't obviously count, right? Because you need 2 candles to confirm, right? So all of these are still over the 8 moving average, right? So was IONQ if you watched the beginning, so was QSI. Obviously, those ended on green days, right? So to me, that's at least an important underline. From there, like I said, there's just a little bit of disjointment, and I would rather them all move up together and down together than this mix, okay? But overall, I think the one main thing that caught my eye with Rigotti was this was, look, a big volume number. I'm not trying to downplay 160 million shares on a single day. That's monster. But Rigotti went from arguably a top 3 to maybe single highest trading stock of the day to it, I don't think was the top 10 today. And that's a significant thing right there. When you go from the volume king, the volume queen for my ladies out there, to not wearing the crown anymore, that actually should do bad things for the volume. For the price and the uptrends, right? But lo and behold, this thing went from 300 all the way down to, I'm just going to roughly say 150. We lost 50% of the volume, but we've actually gone up from that day, right? Not substantially, but hey, it's better than up than down, right? So it's interesting to see 50% of the volume go away, but the uptrend to hold. And again, I think that just it's always why I focus up here more, right? MACD is actually still positive too, right? RSI 75 is a little high, but hey, we're holding consistently. And that's a beautiful thing again, right? So Rigotti's not bad. It obviously has to go into the red section. And I got to at least call out the volume crown aspect of it, right? I couldn't think of that word, but yeah, 160 million. There are stocks I cover that don't get that number in a full week or a full month. You know what I mean? So let me just real quick, and no offense, right? But Guard Force AI, 6 on a day. In a good week, it's 12. In a good month, it's 7.5. In the biggest month of trading history, the volume was 180 million, basically 20 million. Then the single day that Rigotti got, look, in a month, this thing got 3.4 billion shares, right? On a single day, almost that entire. You get what I'm saying, right? So volume is still big. Volume is actually still a really nice, excuse me. I would say that's almost equivalent to IONQ. It really is. That's a good steady slope right there, right? So hold the lines. I'll be happy. I'm just a little annoyed with the disjointment, right? Exact same comment for QBTS, exact same comment for, well, I guess before I go on, there is a little bit of a golden line resistance test here. RGTI doesn't really have that, right? This is over the golden line. This is in all-time highs, right? So not a resistance here, but an interesting resistance here, right? So maybe that's an interesting reason to separate those two in your head. I don't know, right? There's just things to think about, right? But yeah, I would love this thing over 1124. That's an easy thing to say. You know what I mean? And then again, QUBT, same comment as well. Look, this one's almost in the middle, and I maybe should have switched the order, right? Rigotti's definitely over the golden line and has made a really nice percentage since breaking it, actually. This one has technically been over it for actually most of the last 3 weeks, but there's a difference between being over and breaking, right? I'm surprised that didn't continue. Definitely a high RSI for sure, right? So maybe that was the reason. But yeah, good candle, nope. Good candle, nope. Good candle, nope. Good candle, nope. And arguably none of those were actually good candles, right? So until this thing can actually get right back over maybe 23, 2250, 23, something around there, I wouldn't call it a break, even though the number's 14, right? Excuse me, you would think, like, why do I have to go all the way to 23 to break a 14 line? That's the importance of a golden line, right? And that's what makes it a little bit different than any other normal resistance, right? But let's give my numbers up and down real quick. Rigotti, what am I looking for? Look, as long as we're over the 8 moving average, this thing is very bullish, right? So, and truth be told, as long as you're over the 20, because you use the 8 and the 20, you're technically bullish, right? So those are the only two lines I can really talk about. It's 1575, that's the first one. I would maybe use 1315 as that next one. I think that's the good one too. And then, yeah, if you get over this candle, you're going to continue on up, 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 all-time highs, right? And again, we've gone from 10 to 20. That's a good golden line break and run, right? Looking at QBTS, this is the next one. Like I said, we really want to get over 1124. If we can get over, I think let's just call it $10. But yeah, 988 is what we're looking to get over. And we definitely tried today, but just couldn't, right? But get me over 990, and I'm going to start thinking 1125, break 1125. And obviously, you know I'm going to love me some all-time highs. We do not want to go lower than 850. I think if we lose 850, it will be a fast fall to 713 right there. And then lastly, QUBT. I love this stock. I love this stock. 2250 or 23, something like that, depending on your risk reward tolerance. I do not like the stock under the golden line, under the 20 moving average. We cannot lose 1435 on this one, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.